Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you how you, as an empath, can set boundaries during the holiday season and thereby allow yourself to, believe it or not, enjoy these cycles within the year. Now, I know the holiday season tends to be a very racy and just a hustle and bustle, stressful time of year for most people. Empathic people, being so open and sensitive, tend to be more bogged down by the hustle and bustle of this time of year. But a lot of that can be easily offset by learning to set clear, healthy, and firm boundaries with yourself and with other people, family members, etc. Now, setting boundaries is not always the easiest thing to do for an empathic person. Overextending ourselves tends to be our Achilles heel, right? So it can feel uncomfortable and almost foreign to set boundaries, and yet these boundaries, which I'm going to teach you how to set in this video, will really not only transform your holiday season, but they'll transform a lot of your life, truly, okay? I was just like you. I used to dread the holiday season. In fact, my wife has a huge family, and they're cool people. I'm not dogging on them at all, but it was always a very exhausting experience, and I would just dread going over there, even though I got along with everybody just fine. You know how it is being in a room full of a lot of people, a lot of personalities, and everyone seems to be kind of stressed and high-strung during that time, and we got to go in there and sort of put on this be on our game as we converse and communicate. The combination of that and all the different energies and emotions out there in that room, it can very quickly drain us completely to where the whole holiday experience, it becomes just not fun. It becomes just miserable for us. But that doesn't have to be the way it is, okay? And I tell you this from experience. I have 3 children, and in a few days we're flying home to Michigan, where I'm from, to do the whole holiday thing. The double holiday thing, mind you, because I'm married. We have 2 sides of the family, and I'm looking forward to it because I found ways to really create a beautiful and harmonious holiday experience, at least for me and my family, in spite of the undercurrent of chaos. And this video is going to share with you exactly how you can do the same. Number 1, I wrote down extra self-care and listen to your body. Your body will tell you, and already has been telling you, when you're getting near the point of when you're becoming drained, when you're becoming overloaded. For me, I start to feel like spacey, like it's hard to listen, like it becomes tiresome to listen to people. My physical body will feel tired in a sense, and I can almost feel like I can sense my central nervous system getting like kind of overworked, overstimulated, and burnt out. And all these different things combined are pretty obvious to me. Now, in the past, because I saw it as an incredible inconvenience and also unfair that I should need to rest and take naps all the time like an old person, like an old 80-year-old man, just from sitting around talking with people. It didn't make any sense, and I resented my empathic sort of nature, and therefore I would ignore the signals my body were clearly telling me, Victor, go rest, take a time out, take a pause, step away from the conversation. I would ignore them, because I just refuse to accept that this is the case. Now, in getting burnt out year after year after year, I realize that it is what it is. And now what I do, and it's real simple, is when I feel myself getting kind of drained, I will just sneak off and go to the restroom, or I'll go outside by myself, or I'll find a quieter circle of people I can just sort of hang by without having to speak, where I can kind of focus on my breath and come into my zone. When I catch my fatigue coming on early, it doesn't get out of hand. But if I ignore it, it can quickly, almost like in an exponential way, just burn me out to where I'll need several days to recover. Then as we all know, going through the holiday season burnt out as an empath, in the stress as it is, it's for the birds, no way. So I listen to my body. Now this might require I get kind of clever and like James Bond-like and look for openings where I can, whoa, that's my cue, I'm gonna go to the restroom, or really try to like find ways to escape and just take the time I need for myself. But again, what was required of me is accepting that this is the case. Even though I'm a young guy, I can work out and I'm healthy, I get exhausted very easily if I don't take action and listen to my body. Number 2 is I recommend you are mindful and don't overextend yourself. We all have the tendency to do that, don't we? We're nice, we're friendly people, we're quick to say yes, quick to lend a hand, quick to say, yeah, well, I'm down, I'll come, I'll join you, I'll bring a dish, or whatever it is. But sometimes we can do that without really thinking and really projecting accurately into the future as to how is that going to actually be. Am I going to have enough energy and time to manage all of that? Many times we pack way too much on our plates because we don't like saying the word no, okay? I've learned, I catch myself now. In fact, I'm going home for the holidays in a few days, and I just talked to an old friend, an old personal training client on the phone, Rob, the other day. And I was almost gonna say, hey man, we should meet up while I'm there. I'm gonna be there just for 3 days, and we have like multiple gatherings to go to. It's gonna be almost impossible. My wife had the same thing where we're going to her aunt's house for Thanksgiving, and she almost sent her aunt a text. She caught herself mid-text, and she was gonna say, hey, do you want me to bring a dish? But then she thought about it. It's like, okay, 3 kids, we're traveling, multiple Thanksgivings, only 3 days. We'll have just spent, all day in the airport. Maybe bringing a dish is not the smartest thing to offer, and I think they'll understand. So the point is just be really mindful and don't overextend yourself, and don't be afraid to say no. You deserve to have a good time this holiday season as well. Number 3, I wrote down, welcome the triggers. A lot of empathic people, especially those going through a sort of an accelerated spiritual awakening process, which most of my audience is, they find the family get-togethers, the holiday parties to be abundant with situations that trigger them, offend them, bother them, get under their skin, right? What I mean by trigger is that when someone says or does something or even gives you a look that really, really works you up emotionally, there's a strong emotional charge in your body. And what I did for a long time is I would mistakenly blame what seemed to be the source of my emotions, the thing they said, the look they gave, what they did. It was rude, it was out of place, they had no right to do that. Regardless, what they're doing really is mirroring something within myself. Because if I respond with those unpleasant and heavy emotions, there's something in me that correlates to what they said. It's not what they said or the fact that it was rude. It's kind of like a more simple and easy way to understand this. I'm going to use this guy I watch named Bashar. He's a channeler. He says this. He says, if I were to come up to you and say, oh my, what an ugly green shirt you're wearing. If you were wearing a red shirt, would you care about that statement? Would you react? Would you be triggered? No, there would be no emotional charge. Why? Because you wouldn't agree with that. You'd say, my shirt is red, dude. You don't know what the heck you're talking about. I don't agree. And it would be like water off a duck's back, okay? But if it's like your mom, and maybe your mom says, oh, honey, I don't know if you're strong enough to pursue that dream. Right? You feel it. And why? Yeah, it was sort of not cool what your mom said, but it's because there's a part of you that your mom just brought to light for you. There's a part of you that agrees with her, a limiting belief, an unresolved issue, some conditioning that the people who trigger you offer you an opportunity to become aware of. And then with that opportunity, you can You can transcend it, you can clear it, you can let it go. Okay? Instead, like what I used to do in the past was I would just blame people. I'd get mad, I'd be resentful and bitter, and I'd say, I don't want to go to these holiday parties, I don't want to go to these get-togethers, I want to just stay away and crawl and hide in a cave, and because everyone sucks, everyone's mean. It's like, well, the more I started kind of taking responsibility for my own emotional reaction, regardless of the circumstance that brought it about, the more I've been able to clear through a lot of my own stuff with the help of these holiday gatherings, and consequently, there are less situations that trigger me nowadays within the family. In fact, it's very rare, and a lot of them haven't changed. A lot of the things I do over the holidays are the same. But since I have changed, since I've sort of taken advantage of these opportunities and cleared my own space, then I'm in a sense impervious to a lot of what goes on because I've cleared myself out. Okay, but it was not easy for me to do this, and I'm not saying I do this perfectly. Sometimes I have to, later that night, when I calm down, I can sort of journal about it or something, but I choose to take responsibility for how I feel at all times, and that gives me the power to alter how I feel in a positive way. Number 4, I recommend you go with the flow and go in to the holiday season in general with a positive mindset. We really have the ability to create these self-fulfilling prophecies. And it can be tricky when we've had a lot of challenging holiday experiences, a lot of stress and whatnot. It's difficult sometimes to catch ourselves because we can find ourselves going in expecting it to be the same. And of course, that expectation aligns us with experiences that reflect that expectation. But if we can almost like brainwash ourselves and say, you know what? I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna stand in my power, I'm gonna honor my body, maintain my energy, and expect things to go well. Expect myself to just so happen to catch people when they're in a great mood, when they're feeling like open-minded, and I'm going to flow from experience to experience in a harmonious way, regardless of what's going on in the totality. I will align myself with the most favorable circumstances possible. Why? Because I'm choosing to see it in that positive light, and therefore I will magnetize myself, like the law of attraction states, to the more pleasant end of the spectrum within the holiday experience. Now I say all this, not from the mountain, but from the valley, because I was notoriously horrible at this. My wife will be the first to admit. Because again, when we first started dating, I really didn't like going to her family get-togethers. I love them now, and I always have, in a sense, because they're great people, but she has an enormous family, basically. There's 4 or 5 siblings, there's all these nieces and kids, and there's almost every weekend there was some kind of get-together, and there'd be like 20, 30 people gathering, and it was always very draining to me because I didn't apply any of this information, so I'd always go in. I always spent a day or two sort of dreading it, and that would cause me to get burnt out, to feel frustrated. But I realized that, you know what, I need to go in with a better mindset because I just got the sense I was making things harder on myself than need be. And then once I started doing that, everything started flowing. I really did align myself with more of the positive experiences, and it got to a point now where I look forward to going and seeing her family. They're awesome people. They never were bad people. It was just overwhelming for me because I was uncomfortable. So my point is, have a positive mindset. It really does make a difference. Number 5, the main point of this entire video, all these little practical hacks aside, the main thing I want to get across is that this: love melts away all negativity. If you can stand in and respond with a vibration of love and understanding and tolerance and compassion, then it doesn't matter what people say or do or think. They will have no effect on you at all. And not only that, not only does love allow you to sort of cut the ties, the energy cords, if you will, between you and maybe these sort of negative expressions or circumstances or manifestations, but it also allows you to witness yourself having a positive effect on them. If someone comes at you and they're in a really irritable mood and just being kind of cranky with you, it takes patience and willpower to not react to that energy with the same type of energy. But if you could take a deep breath and choose to look past this expression of this individual or whatever, and maybe try to understand the shoes they've been walking in and what maybe have led up to this snide remark or whatever it was that you're contending with, and see that this is a person doing their best at life. This is a person that has probably experienced a lot of pain in their life, or at the very least they've been having kind of a rough day. And their way of acting has really probably not much to do with you. You're probably just being there, doing their, being as nice as possible to people like you always are. And if you can look past that and just sort of see it like that and seek to understand where they're coming from, you can just be cool about it and brush it off and respond with compassion and love. And you will watch as you feel great. Doesn't matter what they do, you can feel great. You cannot get drained or bogged down by their negativity, but you can also transmute their negativity just by simply, again, putting on an aura of love. I know that sounds kind of abstract, and I know it's not always easy, but in my opinion, it's the empath's mission to do that. Empathic people, they have a greater awareness of the repercussions of acting unconsciously and how it affects other people, how it affects the planet, how it affects the whole. And empathic people can tend to dwell on that, all the negative things happening, because you see it with such richness. But at the same time, because of that awareness, we have the opportunity to do things differently and to kind of start setting the tone for the things we wish to see rippling out there into the world, and truly be the change we wish to see out there in the world. And not only is that a valuable thing to do, obviously, for the world, but it makes you feel fantastic. It allows you to really, truly soar above the chaos and the madness of the holiday season or just life in general. It frees you from it, from love, and it helps affect positive change in the world, okay? So I say go into the holidays, my friends, with confidence, with your head high, your heart open, and eager to learn about yourself from potentially some of the trials and errors you encounter. Maintain your energy. Don't be afraid to step aside, to do some Wim Hof breathing or ohms or whatever it is you do. It's okay. You can be that person, that weirdo that steps off and does that kind of thing, because you know yourself. You know it'll help you. Anyways, my friends, that's my spiel. With that said, happy holidays, my friends. Thank you